gotta cut these bolts down. I wonder what Vancouver Bolt would charge us to do it. Yeah. Locking tab and a non-locking tab. Six of these. Set those right there. Put these in here so I don't have to pick them up again. So straight down. Set these over here. Get to that later. And then I'm going to clamp this in here because I'm going to tack it to help hold stuff centered. I'm going to clamp right here for that. Even though I'm eyeballing it, it'll help me hold it centered. Run there good. Then I'm going to spray some anti-spatter on everything, even the stink bug. I coat it. This one here, we're going to throw a little tack on it. I'll put some on here. These parts here. Then I got one down there. Get that one later. Tack this one. I'm going to do the rounds. On that side, hopefully it pulls them back towards the angle. They move a little bit, but not a big deal. I'm gonna grab this one. Jacob says I have to sweep the dingle balls off of here.
I'd say you have to. I mean,
Jason gave me a broom. I'm gonna put this one in here. Now I can set this one down in a spot where I can pick it up for the other side. Runs in here. They're kind of straight. I'm going to flip these parts over and spray them while I'm thinking about it. Spray this. Should be good. Holding the rung with my left hand, pushing it down and into the angle. Stops here to the bottom flat bar to help keep it somewhat straight. Grab that one. Deliberately did that right one last so that I could just grab it and set it on there. I got a couple clamps down here. I keep my clamps in a certain spot so I know which clamps are which. They're all set for a certain thickness. I'm just feeling how flush this is here. feels pretty good. Got a little square here to help hold me square. And then I'm going to center it on the bottom plate and the top plate. A little more anti-spatter here. And I'll put a tack right here at the top because this will help hold it from going off center. It's already trying to do. And then back here I line up the corners. Tack each corner. I got a couple tacks I put in the middle of the flat bar. We'll run some skip welds up to those later. Got this other flat bar. I sprayed one side already, so I'll put that side down. Actually, I don't like that side. So I'm going to put the burr side down. It's not really a burr, but it was a down side on the laser. So I'm going to put that down. We got a little shim here to hold our gap because we need a little gap. The bottom flat bar and the top flat bar are the same part. So up here on the hypotenuse, you got a little bit of a gap, but not a big deal. I'm going to hold that flat, tack the corners. Pull my shim out, tack the corners up here. Now, just in case this warped a little bit from the laser, I'm gonna hold on to this flat bar here. See how there's a little gap? When I press on it, it goes flat. So I'm gonna tack that. Now I'm gonna do the lock bar. Lock bar? Lock bar. Not lock bar. Put these back. If I need to adjust the clamp, I'll do it a little bit now so I don't have to mess with it later. There's nothing like trying to hold parts up and then your clamp's not adjusted right. So I've been taking Jacob's idea and putting a little round piece through here. Works good. I'll take this one with the pad on it so it doesn't, well, this one doesn't have a hole on both sides. It's got one on one side though. And I'm putting this clamp horizontal in case I need to tap this bolt later. So I just kind of feel that where it goes. The bolt that I cut a little bit ago, straighten the nut out so they're running kind of horizontal. Oops, my bad. That's on the wrong side. Got to make sure this goes on that side and the other one goes on the other side. And this bolt just kind of gets centered up right there. Nothing too crazy. And I got a clamp ready to go. Clamp that one. Eyeball that bolt. See my hood? Which side says eyeball it? That one or that one?
That one.
That one? Yeah. We just eyeball it. Good enough. A little more anti-spatter on there. It's expensive, but it's not as expensive as a laser trying to clean off the slag. That's more than a tack, but that'll hold it. On the final weld, we'll weld that a little better. That goes there. This goes in the middle. Now this rung flexes out a little bit, so I'm going to hold it towards me, and then I'm going to weld the middle of the two rungs together. just go ahead and do all of them since I'm there. My bit comes out pretty good, and that flips good. That works. There we go. Now when I go to weld this, I got to clamp this here, the two plates together, because there's no tacks on this back side and I want them together tight. But I did that because it'll be faster to do it later. And then I'll also want to clamp these and then weld the horizontal, or it would be vertical when it's mounted. Weld that later. But that's the only other thing. Good to go. Sweep the table. Back up the next one. Okay, kill it. So I'm going to weld these outside welds first to keep this nice and flat. More anti-spatter. Takes a little bit of time now, but saves time in the end. I wash it onto the front plate, but not go past because it needs to be nice and flat. That way I don't have to grind it. Same thing over here. Weld these downhill with a little up, pointing it up a little bit and dragging it just to keep it nice and flat, and then I don't have to put a plate behind it. A couple more. I move to the inside. When I do the inside, I'm going to go around this corner, along this inside edge, get this inside corner, this one here, along here, and here. Skip welds and various corner welds. So I'll add a little bit more spray on the inside here so you can get rid of those. That slag nice and easy. And I'll start with this here, again, kind of a downhill. I'm just doing this inside corner to that bend line right there. Okay. Flip over to this side. And then a couple skip welds below a slotted hole. Now flip it straight up, same thing here. More of this side, downhill. And I wash it into that corner there at the bottom, little puddle there. Follow my skip welds to the top. About 1 inch, it's about 6 oscillations. It's straight above the slotted hole. I'm going to do the rungs last because they're the thickest and I want the part to be nice and hot when I weld the rungs. So I'll do my downhill here. And I'll switch to this side. it up and do the same here. Two skip welds. And downhill. Again, I just washed it into that corner right there. Now's a good time to spray some more anti-spatter on the rungs, because I'm going to weld those next. I'll just get all the rungs sprayed real good. Now that the part is nice and hot, and I'll put a little anti-spatter up here on the bolt because I got a couple welds to do there. And then I'm going to weld these rungs on the opposite side that I tacked it downhill. Dunk for a little anti-spatter here in the nozzle and the other side. So the rungs are all welded. Little spot here. I'm going to flip it around and do the other side. Opposite side of the tack. Other side of the rung. Checking to make sure. Now I got my bolt on top. Welding from my top tack over to my bottom tack. Make sure this still turns. It does. Downhill here. And then spin this downhill here. Okay. Double check here. I go around my inside edge looking. Yep, all welded. Look, around the rungs. Everything looks good. Other side. Inside edges, skips, inside skips, around the rungs. Everything looks good. Outside welds, outside welds. Double check all these welds. We don't want to miss any. Now I take this chisel and I just scrape the dingle balls off, because if the anti-spatter did its work, everything should come off pretty easy, and it does. I scrape each side of the rung, the top, in between each side of the rung, top, scrape this crevice here. Not much spatter actually on the rungs. A little bit down in here. pretty common. Not much there. Now the other side. Inside of the rungs. Flat area. Inside of the rungs. Flat area. Couple little dingle balls there. Couple there. On the top. Those come right off. Come right off. Couple on the top of the rung here. I'm gonna run my hand down the rung, make sure I didn't miss any. Couple here. Each one of the rungs, because you'll see those. The bottom base, we don't want any there. The front where the cap goes, looks good. Inside the holes, nothing worse than you can't get a bolt in the hole because there's a dingle ball there. Okay, that's good. Put it away.
Video on yet?
Can you start over, please?